Hello, and welcome back to Red Rocket Baseball. Today, we'll be looking at the top 30 MLB pitchers for the 2026 season. Now, this is a prediction video, not necessarily of their current state from what we've seen in times past. This is what I think at the end of the season we are going to look at and say these are the guys. Okay? You'll find out I'm pretty high on a lot of these young guys, and probably a little too high. But you'll see most of them in here in the back third of the video, and then there's a couple that probably crept up a little higher than you would expect. So starting off with Cincinnati Reds, Chase Burns. Burns has a ton of upside. Now, his right now floor is pretty low. If he doesn't have a great season, I wouldn't be too surprised, and I don't think anyone would. But I think that he has such high upside. If he progresses just a little bit towards that, top 30 pitcher. Next up, Toronto Blue Jays, Trey Yesavage. Look, the kid's going to be special. He's already been a little bit injury prone, and Toronto said they plan to slow play him even when he comes back, and if he's 100%, they want him to develop, which I think is the right move long term. And the Blue Jays have a team that you have to look at the long term. But I can't, in good consciousness, put him too much higher due to the fact that they have been open about how slow they're going to play him. Number 28, I have Framber Valdez. He's consistently very good. I'm a little bit worried about his ability to keep his head on if the Tigers aren't performing. I believe we'll see a slight uptick with the Tigers in his strikeout ability. And, I mean, just like every other season, I'm sure he'll be very good. But he's kind of where he's always going to be at. Number 27, Freddie Peralta. I think he's going to have clear regression. I think years past, you could look at him as a top 15 guy. I think after last year's performance and what we've seen so far leading up to this regular season, his stuff is getting worse. The defense behind him is worse than he's used to. I'm expecting closer to a 3.5 ERA. I think he still has top 30 pitcher ability, and I think he'll reach that. Number 26, another Cincinnati Red, Nick Lodolo. Nasty stuff. All of his pitches. Nasty movement. He can tunnel every pitch pretty well. And I feel like he always has been, and he is still being underrated. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know if he's at his ceiling already. And if he's at his ceiling, still a very good pitcher, a pitcher that almost any team would want on their team. But if this is it, cool. Still a very solid 2-3 guy in your rotation. I'm a little unsure about his ability to be an ace. But I do hope, and I do think that he does have that ceiling. And I want him to. I think he might just be able to find that next level here this year. Number 25 is Bubba Chandler, Pittsburgh Pirates, right? He's going to be nuts. He's going to be very good at the game of baseball. At the moment, how good is he? He kind of just slings it in there, dares you to hit it. More often than not, you won't. He lacks quite a bit of control. I think if he was able to just tick down the velocity a little bit, focus on hitting his spots, and not exert so much energy so early in the games, you'll see him in the second, third inning get fired up, screaming, flexing, all of that stuff, which we love to watch as fans. I love to watch that. I don't think anyone's here except some of those old heads that play the game right, you know? But save it for the end, because you're exerting all that energy, and then you get up those fourth, fifth, sixth innings, and you're losing gas, right? So chill out just a little bit in those early innings when you get out of big important spots and all that, and just save it. Number 24, another Toronto Blue Jay, Kevin Gausman. He kind of, not in pitching style, but he reminds me of a better version of Framber, where you know what you're going to get. And what you're going to get is very good pitching. He's just safer, in my opinion. He'll go through, if he plays all, 32 games a pitcher can pitch, 10 of those games, he's going to look untouchable. Like, especially that splitter, when he mixes it in and it's an unhittable pitch. And if one pitch is unhittable, it's not hard to become an unhittable pitcher. Every time I watch him, that splitter just more and more drop, more and more, RPM, all that stuff. Number 23, this is my biased pick of the video. I have to have one, Cam Schlittler. I think out of all those rookies that we've seen get a little bit of playing time at the end of last year, and there's a lot of those guys, a lot of them I've just named, I think at this very moment he's probably the best out of them. I think that he has that step up, and he's a little bit older than a lot of them, but he does have that step up than a lot of the other guys I've talked about already. And I think that the base stats will look better, the win column, all that, because he's on a team that typically gets a lot of wins. And his stuff's disgusting. I love what he brings to the Yankees. Just need him to be careful, kind of what I was saying about Bubba Chandler, where not the exert yourself, he doesn't do that quite as often, but he just keeps getting velocity tick-ups. And love that. We love a guy that can throw 100 for 6 innings, but we don't. His stuff was so nasty at 96 when we saw earlier in the spring training. I think if you keep it 96, 97, and you maintain the control you're showing, plus it's a little safer on the shoulder, on the elbow. But who am I, right? If you're over there throwing 100, I'm never going to complain about it. I love to watch him, and I think that he's going to be a top 25 pitcher in baseball. And I would lean maybe even a little bit lower. Number 22, New York Mets, Nolan McLean. I think that growing pains will be a little bit more apparent than what a lot of people are expecting, because how good he was towards the end of last year. And it's not like we're going to see a full season of what we saw in those, 85 innings, give or take. But I do see him making adjustments to the teams, and I see him making adjustments to another team's adjustments. He's that type of ball player. He's going to be very good. Number 21, I think it's one of the last younger guys for a little while. Jacob Misiorowski. Look, 6'7", 200 pounds. By the time he releases the ball, your nose to nose with him. He gets that much stride. And of course, exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying, where there's not much slowdown from his release point to the plate. The problem is he doesn't know where it's going all that often. But if he doesn't know, you don't know. And if you were able to guess where it's going to be, you're going to miss it. I mean, it's just nasty stuff. He can throw up to, what did we see last year, 102? And he's already so good. And then he's on the Brewers, who work voodoo magic with pitchers, which is why I think Kyle Harrison's a surprise pick this year. That's going to be very good. But don't be surprised if he finds a little bit of control, takes that next step from an electric arm to a true ace. I have him at 21. If he's a top 12 guy at the end of the year, nobody would be all that surprised. At least I don't think so. Number 20, Joe Ryan. Get him out of Minnesota. He's wasting his talents, and he's going to give you, 150, 200 innings of very Very good pitching. Yes, he has his downs, and I think that he's one of the guys you can see in the first inning on if it's going to be his game or not. Most of the time, it is his game, but you can see just by how the fastball rides and how the movement is whether or not he's going to get out of it. If it's a bad first inning, usually he doesn't get out of it stuff wise. You don't want to see him on in the batter box, and just stay healthy, get traded at the deadline, and go to a team that your talents are going to be productive. Number 19, Jesus Luzardo. He showed a side of him that we haven't seen from him last year. That second half was great, but unsustainable. Probably. And I doubt, I don't know, he's probably going to have a couple of holes in him, especially against righties. He needs to find some way to finish righties off. But I do expect him to be somewhere between his second half of last year and his first half of last year. Probably leaning towards the second half just a little bit, which gets him in that top 20 spot, number 19. Now with number 18, Chris Sale. Problem is his injuries. Problem is he is 37. When he does pitch, he does it at such an elite level, and the arm angle and just his slider, it's all fun to watch. And if you're a pitching guy, you just love Chris Sale. Again, 37, injuries after injuries, not on the arm, but he still gets hurt. Expect regression and expect the Braves to be cautious with him, which is why I can't have him higher. And maybe I even have him too high right now, because I definitely can't see him going for more than 170 innings, and that's if he's healthy all year and the Braves are kind of running wild with him. Number 17, Cole Ragans. He barely got to pitch last year. Hasn't pitched well this spring. But we don't care about spring, do we? I mean, before last season, I was telling all my friends, I was telling my brothers, this is a Cy Young candidate. They didn't fully see it last year, and maybe that was me being a little too high. And I think this year, probably not a Cy Young candidate. I'll calm down a little bit. But that's mainly because I can see him having a pretty tough start to 2026 as he progresses back to 100. But when he gets there, he's a top guy. I expect him to make some noise, and I expect once he's at 100%, the Royals to start creeping back up the rankings as a team. But I don't expect too much before the All-Star break from him. But I think afterwards, again, top 20 guy here. Number 16, and it hurts me putting him this low, Jacob deGrom. Another sub-3 season last year for deGrom. We love to see him healthy. I hope he gets to get extended through games a bit more. But injury prone. I mean, if we can get 175 innings out of him, healthy innings out of him specifically, I think that can do wonders for the Rangers. He's 38 though. If regression does come, I wouldn't be surprised. But somebody this talented and this nasty of stuff and this ball IQ, we don't know how much he is going to regress. I would doubt it's all that much. Number 15, I have George Kirby. In a partially injured season last year, he disappointed. He tried to pitch through injury and pitch through the pain, but he couldn't do it at the level we all expect from him. His strikeout stuff is up there with the best of them. He needs to find a little bit of a stronger pitch to get lefties out, but I think he'll bounce back this year from last year. Be very good. My 15 guy. Number 14, Yuri Perez. Look, he's only 23 years old. He's been injured his whole career. But we all know what he can bring if he's healthy, right? And I'm betting on a healthier season. That's what this prediction is. If we can break 150 innings, number 14 is a very realistic number. That'd be great for him, the Marlins, for his development, and with a healthier season, I can propel it. I can see him propelling himself to that true ace for the next decade. Just need him to be healthy. Number 13, Shohei Ohtani. Whenever he does pitch, he is an elite pitcher. He'll never make more than 18 starts again, especially with how cautious this Dodgers team is going to be, because they can be. But nasty stuff, probably an MVP, part to him hitting that 15 starts with a 3 ERA. It's ghost stuff. That's what he does. Number 12, Edward Cabrera. If the Cubs can get a full season out of him, I can see him breaking into that top 10. I do think that Cubs are going to be a clear playoff team, and they're going to ease off of him, which prevents him from that top 10, just to keep his arm healthy. But he's at that age, he's entering his prime, and he seems to be on just the brink of stardom. My only notes for his pitching ability is you got to beat lefties more consistently. If he can find a way to sequence the lefties up a little bit better, Cy Young candidate. Number 11, I have the Houston Astros, Hunter Brown. He reached a level I didn't expect to see him reach this soon in his career. A whole season of a 2.4 ERA. He looked unhittable for the majority of the season. A great movement, a fastball that may be top 3 in the league. A great defense behind him, infield defense behind him. And I think he got a little bit lucky, and I'm not expecting a 2.4 again through a whole season. I do hope he's healthy all season, as much as I'm not an Astros fan. He's great to watch. I think that we'll see, 32 starts of a 2.8 to 3.2 ERA. Number 10, I feel like this is probably my riskiest pick of the video. I've got Bryan Woo, and I think a lot of people are going to think that's very high. But opposite of Brown, who I thought got a little bit lucky, I think Woo has been quite unlucky. I am expecting a 3 to a sub 3 ERA. Especially if he goes a little bit more south, lower the ball a little bit at the beginning of counts and don't get caught. Those high fastballs, great for setups, but sometimes you just gotta get in the zone, and you gotta figure out who's sitting fastball, which against Woo a lot of people do, and he gets caught sometimes. Number 9, I have the Toronto Blue Jays, Dylan Cease. He didn't have a great season last year. He's on a new team, very different staff, very different culture, and I don't see any way he can pitch as poorly as he did last year. He has top 10 stuff. He's on a top team now. I don't see him being anywhere outside of the top 10, and I think he will be elite, and he'll take this season. He'll take over this year. He's going to take a step forward. Cy Young candidate. I'm not saying he'll win it, because we know the two that are probably going to win it. But brings me to number 8. My New York Yankees, Max Fried. What I said about Gausman, what I said about Framber, definition of consistency, except he does it better. He's just he's more reliable. He's not the most exciting guy out there. You're not going to watch him. You're not going to see him get 12 strikeouts and blah, blah, blah. You're going to see him get 5 strikeouts, but he's going to pitch 7 innings, 1-run games 30 times in the season. He had a 2.86 ERA, and he didn't always get the best effort behind him in the field. Then that's probably an understatement. He's a pitch-to-contact guy, You're not going to see people hit the ball against him too hard. Soft contact. And I'm expecting a 2.5 ERA, maybe a little bit lower. Number 7, the best of the Seattle Mariners rotation. I have Logan Gilbert. He's pitched through some pain last year, and it showed. But when he's right, good luck. Command hasn't been on point this spring. But again, it's spring. Who cares? And that's not saying that it won't be there by the start of the season. Maybe a little higher ERA than Fried. I'm thinking maybe like a 2.8, but very different stuff. A lot more strikeouts, probably a higher WAR due to that. And probably 12 wins, 15 wins. Number 6 is Logan Webb, who, think about everything I said about Fried. He's that, except he gets more strikeouts. He is a pretty pitched contact guy, except he has that splitter that's disgusting, and he does get quite a bit more strikeouts. He's the definition of consistent. He's the definition of a workhorse pitcher. When you think workhorse, you think innings eater. Yes, he does that, except he does it at an elite level. He's going to give you shutouts at a workhorse rate. He's going to give you 12, 15 strikeout games at a workhorse rate. And he's always just going to have a couple of games, 3 to 4, that things just seem to blow up on him, and you're like, it's bound to happen to a guy that pitches like this. 5 days later, 5 games later, when he pitches again, you forget about it. He's going to pitch 200 innings. He's going to have a 2.83 ERA. That's my prediction for him. Sub 3. Number 5, Los Angeles Dodgers, Yamamoto. I originally had him at number 4. Had to move him up once I started thinking about how if he yawns before a game, the Dodgers are going to put him on the IL. They're going to be super safe because they can be. They're going to make the playoffs no matter who they play, basically. And they're going to need him because he did some superhero stuff in the playoffs last year. I don't see him making 30 starts. 24, maybe. That's my guess. 24 starts, 2.7 to 3 ERA. And then the playoffs are going to hit, and he's probably going to do amazing things once again. Number 4, the Philadelphia Phillies, Christopher Sanchez. Yeah, he's above Yamamoto because I think he'll make all of his scheduled starts. Phillies are going to need him to if they want to compete with the Dodgers and go to the playoffs. He won't see too many lefties, and he shouldn't because he mows them down. But righties don't have much of a better chance. He'll give another 200 innings. He'll give another 200 strikeouts, probably a 2.5 to 2.8 ERA. And then he'll come in second in the Cy Young voting for the NL. That's how it's going to work. And much like coming in second is my number 3 pitcher, Garrett Crochet. I'd be lying if I said I expected another 200 plus innings. I don't. We haven't seen it consistently from him. I don't see it 2 seasons in a row this early. I hope I'm wrong because 200 innings of Crochet, it's a lot of fun to watch. Except against my Yankees, but whatever. He'll get probably 200 strikeouts if he reaches even the 170 inning mark. Probably a sub 2.5 ERA this year. He was really close last year, and he is elite, and he's only getting better somehow. And he's a Tarek Skubal trade away from the NL, from a Cy Young. Skubal gets traded to the NL. Crochet is getting that Cy Young. But until that happens, second place, buddy. Number 2, Paul Skeens. There's not much to say about the kid that everyone else hasn't already said. 32 starts, probably only 17 wins. I say only, that's a good amount. but 200 plus innings, probably what? I have 220 plus strikeouts, sub 2 ERA, insane stuff. No notes. He's 24 years old, and in a decade, he'll probably be number 1, number 2, still. And I hope the Pirates don't screw him up or screw having him up in any way. Number 1, the best pitcher in baseball, again, Tarik Skubal. Same as Skeens, 200 innings, except probably a little more strikeouts because Skeens is lowering it a little bit and focusing on efficiency. But 200 plus innings, 230-ish strikeouts, sub 2 ERA. I see him elsewhere at the deadline besides Detroit because I'm predicting their fall off a little bit. But it won't affect his ability to pitch, and it won't affect his ability to make batters look like they shouldn't be in the same league as him. Number 1, Tarik Skubal, easily. There's a couple guys missing. I really wanted Zach Wheeler on here. I think a lot of people are just pretending like this injury is going to uproot his career. 2027, I might have him in the top 10. I think he's going to come back and be elite. I just don't think he'll pitch enough to be in this rankings. But that's all I'm going to have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are my top 30 pitchers. Leave a comment, like the video. Red Rocket Baseball.